Yeah, it's oh boys and girls. Wasn't it a great weekend to be a Hot Pass podcast listener, wasn't it? And follow me on all my social media platforms, wasn't it? A pitch what? A pitch what? How much money do we make? A lot of money. So, let's get into the podcast. All right, guys, I'm not messing around this week. All right, so welcome to the Hot Pass podcast. Every episode available Monday, Friday morning, 5 a.m. Eastern. Make sure you're following, all right? Go to the Hot Pass podcast on all audio platforms, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast. Make sure to leave us a 5-star rating, hit the notification bell, and follow the Hot Pass podcast. Make sure to go over to the YouTube, subscribe, listen to the Hot Pass podcast. Usually available about a day later. So Hot Pass podcast on YouTube, like, share, subscribe to the podcast there. Comment on the podcast, like it, because it really helps out the algorithm, gets our view counts up, and help me help you, right? Still trying to get ads and everything for the podcast. So then go to @FurlongEric_ on all social media platforms and follow me there. You'll see all my betting picks before the end of the show, because Friday morning betting show is always available, but it has the Xfinity and trucks exclusive to the show, and about half an hour to an hour before every race, I'll post the betting card or whatever. So you have to listen here, get in all the bets super early, get the lines. And if you follow me @FurlongEric_ on all my social media, I sometimes tweet out some of the really, really good plays. And I tweeted one out for the Cup Series today, and it was on my Action Network. So make sure to go follow the Action Network. Link is in the bio of wherever you get my podcast. And you'll see the hammer bet that over 1,000 people saw, and everybody on the Action Network saw. So make sure to go follow there as well. So let's get right into the podcast. Let's go to my little notes here. Yeah. So first thing, I just want to start off, we talk about everything, right? I mean, the level of the shit that happened after the Xfinity race, immediately after the Xfinity race, was crazy. Trump getting shot. And I'm going to talk about it. It's not a political podcast, but I like to talk about some of this stuff sometimes. So, I don't care where you guys stand. But back a couple years ago or whatever, I was super, super political. Definitely with all the COVID stuff going on. And it was definitely crazy. And I kind of went off the deep end or whatever. Lost a lot of friendships. And I'm an honest guy. I'll always tell you that, politics, you shouldn't lose friendships over. But the COVID stuff was really serious. Definitely here in Canada. We couldn't, at one point, you weren't even allowed to leave our province to go to another province. You weren't allowed to go into businesses if you weren't vaccinated or you weren't wearing a mask. And I'm sure there was a lot of stuff depending on the state you were living in or wherever you live in the world that you're listening to this podcast. And it was a lot. And I've kind of separated myself from politics. Every once in a while, I kind of just dabble into the odd thing. Sometimes, I listen to Joe Rogan's podcast. I listen to a lot of podcasts. For example, Breaking Points with Crystal and Sauger. That's a great podcast. Shouts out to them. Go listen to Breaking Points. But they give a really non-biased look at politics. And I only really listen to politics when something goes on, or Joe Rogan has somebody on that is a political figure, and then I kind of get an update of what's going on. But with the Trump stuff, man, I mean, there's a guy, Phil Spain. I think it's Phil Spain or something like that. He's a Bubba Wallace fan, and he's on Twitter, and then his wife's on Twitter as well. And I swear to God, at this point, I'm calling him out. I don't know if you guys follow him. I know some people that I follow him. They're nutbags. Okay, I'm going to call him out on the podcast right now. I don't like creating drama, but you're Bubba Wallace fans, and anybody that has different opinions of theirs, I swear, they hate. This is the issue with the world that we live in. I understand there's a lot of races in the NASCAR world. There's a lot of haters in the NASCAR world and in the world in general, right? But to make it, a whole point about it with NASCAR is you see a guy like that Phil guy, him and his wife, anybody that supports Trump, it seems to be the devil. Anybody that, has a right-leaning or likes guns, they're the worst person. And I swear to God, him and his wife are just tweeting out this crazy shit at this point to be able to get views and clicks. because they have some wild takes. I even just decided to block them now because I don't want to see it on my fucking on my timeline, because I'm trying to watch NASCAR, and if anybody that's in the NASCAR sphere tweets and you go to the For You section of X or whatever, or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, it'll be all the suggested stuff or whatever that friends of yours or whatever follow, and his stuff and his wife's stuff comes up all the time, and it's always political. It's always political, and I don't want to see it anymore. You guys are fucking weirdos, man. It's like they make every last bit of everything with anything that goes on with Bubba Wallace or anything that goes on in the sport, political based. And I'm not fucking subscribing to it, because when the Trump shit happened, they immediately went to, don't say anything you wouldn't want to have come back on you on Monday. And I went, well, dude, let's break it down. I'm kind of all over the rails because it kind of gets me heated. But the whole thing is just weird. Trump getting shot is not good. I don't care if you're left or right. I'm pretty down the middle. I grew up in Canada, or I grow up in Canada. I still live in Canada. And I believe in free healthcare for everybody. Obviously, there's pluses and minuses or whatever to good things and bad things about that. But we won't get into that. And there's, and then I believe in firearms. And this whole situation with Trump getting shot, if you're against firearms, this is one thing I want to stand on, is this is what I'm trying to get to. If you're against firearms, but then all of a sudden and with shootings and everything, they complain about Uvalde, all this other stuff, and you're okay with Trump getting shot, you're a hypocrite. I specifically remember a moment where XXXTentacion, if you guys don't know him, he was a rapper or whatever, artist. A couple years ago, he got shot in broad daylight. And there was a lot of allegations against him, sexually assaulting his wife or fiance, whatever it was, or baby mama, whatever it was. And all these leftist people and feminists and all this stuff were super, like, this is extreme lefts. I have friends that are Democrats in the States that love firearms, la-di-da-di-da. And so he gets shot in broad daylight. And all these people that I've known that live in Canada or America or whatever, there's some people that were like, I'm happy he died. I'm happy he fucking got gunned down. I went, so now you're a hypocrite. You're against firearms, but you're only for firearms and murdering people when it suits your case and somebody that you do not like. In no facet in any world should somebody ever get shot and killed. That's not how this works. But I also believe in being able to protect your family and what you own. Because here in Canada, I'm going to end the politics stuff and we're going to get into the NASCAR stuff in a second. But here in Canada, if somebody comes on your property and breaks in with your family inside and you shoot multiple shots and kill them, you can go to jail for murder. And you may be listening to that going, that's crazy, and you're going to go Google it. I'm not kidding. There was a case or whatever during COVID in a city called Milton. You can go look it up. But there was a man with his wife and his child in the house, and his elderly mother or something. And 3 or 4 people broke into his house. He shot one bullet, killed one guy, and the government charged him with murder. And the only reason he got off was because he shot one bullet. And then they said it wasn't an intent to kill. It was self-defense. But if he shot more than one, they had a fucking murder case against him. I went, that's crazy. So I believe in firearms and protecting your family and your house and what you own. And these hypocrites out there coming after Trump. And I'm not 100% a Trump supporter, but if I was down there right now, I'd probably be voting for the motherfucker because that was badass. You get clipped in the ear, and then the crazies come out, huh? The crazies come out. And so that's the end of me wanting to talk about this. I just think that we all have to be able to find a middle ground and love and care for each other and just be by our sides and realize that all this hate and division on anything can be solved by just talking with one another. I have friends from all sides, and we all love each other, and it's, There's a lot of weird shit going on in the world. I just saw a video from Alex Jones about the Bohemian Grove shit just happened this weekend. And if you don't know about Bohemian Grove, go and Google that shit. I shared it on my Twitter or whatever. Bohemian Grove is crazy. So I'm a conspiracy theorist in a lot of things, but I try not to bring it on the podcast. But it is a whirlwind. That was kind of a jumbled up a bunch of shit that I just talked about. But we got to find the middle ground and just love and care for each other. Because I can tell you right now, I don't live in the States, but I travel to the States a lot. And if the shit gets crazy in America, I'm not going to be able to go down. So let's figure this shit out. I can tell you right now, Donald Trump getting up with blood all over his face and he fucking pumps his fists in the air. That man never quits. In a moment of he almost dies, he's like, I'm taking advantage of this moment. God bless America, like USA, like fucking, whoa, and he's pumping his fist in the air. God bless. Craziness, man. That guy, no, he you gotta give it to him. It was the perfect thing for him to do at that moment. Not coward and be underneath Secret Service. He's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm standing above it. I'm pumping my fist out, bitches. And at that moment, that's why people are like, oh, it was staged. Oh, come on. When liberals try and start their own conspiracy theories, they fail every time. They fail every time, dude. We know the conspiracy theories, baby. All right. Let's readjust the hat. Also, if you go to the YouTube, Hot Pass Podcast on YouTube, we're getting into the NASCAR stuff now. But I'm wearing the Indianapolis Motor Speedway hat because we're going to the Brickyard this week. I think it's going to be probably a boring fucking race, but I hope not. And this is the hat that you guys can win. Go to my social media on Instagram and stuff and share and like the post and tag 3 friends. You can win this hat and a t-shirt, Mark Martin all over print t-shirt. So anyways, I hate to start it this way with a bunch of new listeners probably listening. That's really unfortunate, but let's get into the NASCAR stuff. This is what we've been waiting for. So the truck race has consistently been fucking good. I have to say, it's been really good racing. I mean, at this point, I think Corey Heim is the Max Verstappen of the truck series. Yeah, the odd other driver wins, right? It's just like F1. The odd other driver will win. But in the end of the day, it's fucking Corey Heim / it's Max Verstappen dominating the season. So, I mean, the beginning of the race scared the shit out of me. I've never taken a plus 190 favorite. Not even Kyle Busch in a truck race. And when Corey Heim doesn't launch, I go, oh my God. Oh, I'm like, it's all ruined. And then the motherfucker comes back and he wins the pitch. It was never in doubt. Even when the rain came and we're sitting there and oh my God, we're going to be plus 8.3 units. This is going to be great. I had no doubt. Now, there's other drivers in the Cup Series and Xfinity. I go, they're going to choke it. But I go, Corey Heim is elite in the Truck Series. And I have no issues with it. I was just hoping that Tay Gray would get that top 3 and we'd hit top 3 and top 5. But Tay Gray is a real deal as well. It's just so crazy that every year, it seems to me, that every year there's always one driver in the Truck Series that kind of just finds it and stands above the rest. So it'll be interesting when Corey Heim will probably go to 23-11. I'd fucking hope so. Unless something like silly season changes that and he goes to like RCR or something crazy, switches to from Toyota to Chevrolet. That would be the worst thing that 23-11 could ever let happen, or any Toyota personnel. So throw the bag at him. Anywho. It's just going to be interesting to see when he leaves and goes up to the Cup Series, because we know he's going to the Cup Series. Who's going to be the next one to move to the top? Like there are some guys that are kind of peeking, right? Peeking their heads up. It'll be unless somebody else comes up from like ARCA or Xfinity goes down, and because if like a Ryan Preece goes to the Truck Series, I'm going to be really pissed off. Or somebody from the Xfinity Series bumps back down, but. I think like if Taylor Gray doesn't get an Xfinity ride, which he's really showing that he should be able to take over a Joe Gibbs ride, he's got to stay in the Toyota camp. But Taylor Gray could be a factor. The one guy I want to talk about, I have it in my notes, I think, over here, is Daniel Dye. Daniel Dye is really coming to his own. Man, he fucked up. With more experience, he's not going to fuck up that pit road. If you guys didn't watch the truck race, he was running top 5 all day, and on pit road, he stalls it and screwed up everything. But I feel like at this point, for at least a betting aspect, you have to at least sprinkle him on a top 5. IRP this weekend, I think it'll be interesting to see how he drives. I might wait to practice in qualifying to see how he does. But I feel like on these 1.5 mile kind of tracks, he's going to start showing up. The McElhaney trucks have really showed up. They also had a huge scare this weekend of possibly not even having their crew chase. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be great. Taylor Gray top 3, Corey Heim to win. Sick. Unfortunately, they showed up. Terrible. But it would have been like Daniel Dye is really coming to his own. Like last year, caught up in all the wrecks. But now he's starting to find it, man. And people are still fading him. And they're thinking 5-1 isn't a good line. And I go, well, you're not gonna like it when it's going to be one of those favorites probably next year, and it's going to be a 2-1, maybe a 3-1, and enjoy the 5-1 while it happens, because I feel like it's going to hit again this year. Once I think they probably go to Kansas again. Do they go to Kansas again? I can't remember the 1.5 mile tracks they go to again. I'll have to check the schedule another time, but. 1.5 mile tracks, I feel like Daniel Dye, those McElhaney trucks are fast, and Daniel Dye is figuring it out. So you have to take a look at him. But also, just before the end of the truck series stuff here, Corey Heim has officially redeemed himself on this podcast. He's made enough money back from the championship race when we had Grant Enfinger. So he has redeemed himself. Okay. And we're buying a bunch of Tricon Garage truck merch this week as well. And we're going to come out with a bunch of social media stuff. I haven't done that. I think I talked about it on Friday that I was going to do that. I haven't placed the order yet, so that's going to come in. I was waiting to see if my twin would purchase some stuff, but I have not heard back yet. So let's go to Saturday's stuff. I mean, man, it was a sweaty one. I mean, Pocono is great. I like how they had the alternate start-finish line, so they got through practice and qualifying really quick. I mean, watching practice and qualifying for Xfinity was really interesting because we had Ryan Sieg, which was a crazy play. I don't know what happened to Ryan Sieg at the end of the race there. I think you know what he did? He stayed out and just pitted before a caution came up. But we had 80-1, 25-1 for a top 3, and 12-1 for a top 5. I would do that again. 1.5 mile. Stuart Haas showed up, dude. Stuart Haas had fast-ass cars this weekend. I mean, Riley Herb's not much in practice and qualifying, but he ended up showing up in the race and then obviously gets penalized under a green flag stop. Riley, no. So we'll keep hitting Riley until he makes us some fucking money because he's good. And when he's running good all of a sudden and he hits all of his marks, he's probably going to have an engine issue or something. That's how Riley Herb's fucking day just gets ruined all the time. But Sheldon Creed getting the pole, and I was like, there's no way this man is winning. He will choke this somehow. He ends up finishing P4, but not really a factor after practice and qualifying. He fell like a rock at the beginning of that race. To this day, we will still fade Sheldon Creed. If anything, you hit him for the top 5, you hit him for the top 3, but he will not win a race. And when he does win a race, I will eat my words. But I had a feeling his 1.5 mile performances are bad. They're getting better, but that team is slowly trying to figure out that stuff. But I got a weird feeling. I'm gonna just have to remember this. I'm gonna go to Watkins Glen this year again, and I'm probably gonna have to witness his first win. But no, because Shane Van Gisbergen's in the field, so that's not happening. I'll take Sheldon Creed top 3 at Watkins Glen so I can watch his utter destruction. Or Parker Kligerman will just turn him around again. Anywho, we go to the, we didn't even touch on what we hit for the Truck Series bets. Oh my God. We're all over the place. This Trump shit got me all fucked up, didn't it, huh? Okay. So what did we hit? We hit Corey Heim outright. We gave out Taylor Gray, top 5, top 3, So that was a sweaty one, but it locked it. Well, Taylor Gray ran good all day. It was good. He qualified bad and had a bit of a tough time through stage one, but I mean, the fuel strategy at the end of the race was great. I love that they extended it an extra 10 laps. What else did we hit? Oh my God, we didn't even talk about this. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy. I forgot to talk about this bet, huh? I mean, Lane Riggs goes to a backup car. We already gave out plus money, Chase Purdy over Lane Riggs. And then after practice and qualifying, Lane Riggs puts it into the wall. He's going to a backup truck, and they give Chase Purdy over Lane Riggs at minus 105. I should have put my life savings on it because Lane Riggs was irrelevant all day. Chase Purdy only shows up on mile-and-a-half style tracks, and he fucking goes and wins that bet as well. So, boom, suck my dick, sports books. Yep, we beat you. We beat you. Shouts out to Caesars and shouts out to, I think it was Bet365. I love you, Bet365. Keep giving us great lines like this. Because we're going to talk about one in the Cup Series that people absolutely fucking hammered and they still didn't move the lines. So that was easy as hell. I think that was the only bets that we hit, but we profited a lot, 8.3 units. So let's, back to Saturday. We're getting crazy. I'm smacking the microphone. But some sweaty bets with the Cup Series qualifying. And this year, man, oh my God. What was it? Ty Gibbs and Bubba Wallace. Ty Gibbs second twice to Kyle Larson by a fraction of a second. Bubba Wallace by a fraction of a second gets beat by Kyle Larson. And I'm sitting here like, we're just good at predicting second. Now, and I'm an honest person when I go to my Action Network. There's a lot of people out there that they'll post their bets, their main bets on the Cup Series on the Action Network, but they don't post their qualifying bets. So I feel like it's a bunch of hoopla of how much they've actually profited of all time. So I started doing that over the last couple of weeks. So we'd be up actually a lot more money rather than just south of 100 units we are in total on the Action Network. So it'd be, to be honest, we'd probably be up to like 150 units or so overall if we always tracked our qualifying bets. So we had Ty Gibbs. What do we have? We had Tyler Reddick. We had Ty Gibbs, Bubba Wallace, and Ryan Blaney. Bubba Wallace fucks it up in practice in qualifying. Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting there like, man, starting P29, that is fantastic. He has a good car. He had it was a disastrous car, but we'll get into it. But we had Ryan Blaney in there. We had Tyler Reddick and Ty Gibbs. And then obviously Kyle Larson doesn't make it to the end. And I go, I feel good. But William Byron and Alex Bowman are laying down laps like it's their fucking job, huh? And I guess it is their job, isn't it, huh? And I'm sitting there like, fuck me, dude. And I was thinking in the back of my head, do I take William Byron? We had William Byron over Joey Logano at minus 150. I was sweating that one. But Joey Logano just didn't look fast. And William Byron was a speedy motherfucker. So on William Byron's lap, I'm praying for him to do good, but not too good. And he lays down a lap like his life depended on it. And I'm sitting there like, Tyler Reddick fucks up his shit. And I went, God damn it. I'm like second again or whatever, right? Because I'm like, Ty Gibbs wins the bitch. And I'm just getting out of the gym on Saturday morning. And I'm going, thank the fucking Lord Almighty. So what did we go up on that one? I think it was like over 9 units, a little over 9 units. So then now we're sitting pretty. I'm like, I don't care about the rest of the day. The Xfinity race could go good or bad, or the Cup Series race could go good or bad. And I'm a happy boy right now. We'll probably break even for the weekend, or we're going to be massive profits. So then we go into the race, and I'm kind of trying to look at Xfinity, and I'm like, I'm holding with what I got. But then I see, I think it was before practice and qualifying. Yeah, it was definitely before practice and qualifying. I saw a Cole Custer line out there. He's sitting at 5-1, 6-1. I think it was mainly like 5.5-1 on, I think right down the middle. Yeah, 5.5-1 on majority of books to win the race. And Caesars holds up a boost at 8-1. What a boost. And I see nobody have it on their cards. And I'm thinking, okay, I look at Cole Custer's resume. here. And I go, okay, it's okay. He did really well in an 07 car a couple years ago. And I went, I feel like Cole Custer's due to get his first win this year. And I'm just thinking, man, fuck it. I'm going to do it. I was high on Riley Herbst. I was high on Ryan Sieg. We find out during practice qualifying that Ryan Sieg is in a Stewart-Haas built car. And I'm sitting there like, okay. Before that, I'm like, I'm high on these other two guys. Why am I not taking the guy that's more of an elite driver, that is the elite driver of Stewart-Haas in the Xfinity Series? So I put a unit on it. I'm like, I feel okay about it. Justin Allgaier and Junior Motorsports, you can't really trust them. And what their strategy call was the pitfall of all pitfalls. And I really wanted to get something on Brandon Jones, but as we saw in the race, he immediately falls apart. And I love Brandon Jones. But my God, I don't know what's going on. I think this is a weekly thing at this point that I'm talking about Brandon Jones going. I don't know what's happening. He fell out of Joe Gibbs' equipment and went over to Junior Motorsports, and that team, I don't know if it's him or if it's the car. Because even then, like Junior Motorsports, like Sam Mayer and Justin Allgaier do pretty good. But Sammy Smith kind of just randomly shows up sometimes, and he's pretty young. But Brandon Jones has been in the Xfinity Series for a long time, so I'm starting to think that I'm blaming the equipment. I'm not blaming the driver. I'm giving the benefit of the doubt to the driver. I'm blaming the equipment. And you guys know, I love Junior Motorsports. Okay? But something doesn't seem right. Multiple times now. Like, he has had engine failures. He's had brake issues. He's had plenty of shit at the beginning of the year. So there was no fault of his own. And if he loses his ride, I'm actually going to be really sad for the guy. He brings a lot of money with Menards, but, they got to make a change somewhere and figure this out. They got to figure the engineering out of this car because it has been fucking bad. And he ran well in Joe Gibbs stuff. So it's obviously, I don't think it's the fucking driver. Anyways, I hate to blame Junior Motorsports. So Sheldon Creed ends up choking it. Anyways. Yeah, Junior Motorsports screwed themselves on their fucking strategy. Justin Allgaier got fucked. Cole Custer wins the race, baby. I'm out for dinner with my grandfather. Unfortunately, my grandfather has terminal cancer. So we went out for dinner or whatever, and that was really nice. The man cannot park. Somebody take his license away from him just because he can't park. Other than, dude, we went to a short track a couple weeks ago, and we're going in an 80 zone, right? At 80 kilometers an hour. I don't know what that is miles per hour, whether it's 50 or 60 miles an hour, whatever it was. But he's going almost double the speed limit. And I'm like, this man is fucking in his 80s, mid-80s, and he has got a steel foot, bro. Hollow leg. Just ripping it. And I'm kind of looking over, and we're trying to go to this short track. It's like a little over an hour away, and I'm like, I'm going to die. He's taking me with him. He's the one that got me into NASCAR, but I was like, my God. We're going like 160 zone. It's almost double the speed limit, ladies and gentlemen. If you're from the States or whatever, then Google the speeds. But we go by the metric system up here, okay? Let me get a beverage here. We also ran out of Monster Beast, so I got to wait a month until I go down to the Michigan race to be able to get more beverages. Anywho, Cole Custer, absolute dog. We also, you want to know something, bitches? We also took Tay Gray plus 450 for a top 5. Now, let me tell you right now. I got a feeling that when the trucks and Xfinity are both at the same location and Taylor Gray is driving in Joe Gibbs' equipment, I feel like he focuses more on that race. Focuses really hard. I don't even know if that's making any sense, but he focuses way harder on getting good finishes. Look at the finishes he's had, the same weekends he's finished, or he's been racing in Xfinity as he is in trucks. Really good. But if he's just driving trucks that weekend and not as well as he's not driving Xfinity as well, crashes. So I'm going to keep playing off the fact that if he's driving the same weekend as Xfinity on the same track and trucks are there, I'm putting money on. for the truck series. I mean, I feel like I was pretty lucky with the way the strategy call played, but he was in Joe Gibbs equipment. Man, the kid is fucking good. I like Tanner Gray as well, but Taylor Gray is an up-and-coming name, and I wouldn't be shocked if we see him in an Xfinity next year or at least the year after. The kid's got talent, man. He can drive that thing. Every time he's in it, he's definitely top 10. I understand it is Joe Gibbs equipment. It is a really good car. But he makes it look fast, man. I mean, he qualified okay, had really good speed in practice, and pulled it off, man. So thank you very much, Tay Gray. I will be buying your shirt, showing support to the dogs. That's one thing I do wish that they had trucks back at Michigan again, and or if they drove up and did one road course at Watkins Glen, because God, that'd be great racing, man. Anyways, yeah, there was like a little over 6 units for the Xfinity race as well. So we are rolling in the dough. And then we go to the Cup race. I think we're up like 24 units at that point, man. It has been a good weekend. So at this point, I'm sitting here like I'm talking to my brother, I think, Sunday morning. And I'm talking to him about like I'm not even going to place any other bets. We're at 24 units. Even if we were to lose all of our bets in the Cup Series, I'm not really too worried about it. And we're still going to profit a lot. So, you win or you lose. But I got to say, I was like, I go and I'm like, I'm going to take a look. And, it's the gambling mind, right? You just want to take a look and take a peek, right? You want to take a little peek at the book, see if there's a little value anywhere. And motherfucker, Bet365. Okay, Bet365. I'm going to have a chat with you here. I'm looking at the camera here. Let me get a sip, because this is serious business here, people. Bet365. You guys hating on Bubba, huh? You guys hating on Bubba what? Last time I checked, the 2311 cars are way better than RCR cars. And you want to disrespect my boy Bubba, huh? What? And put Bubba Wallace at plus 100, plus money, to Kyle Busch in a matchup? I say, what? I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to fucking hammer that bitch. I'm going to bend that bet right over. Bend the bet. We're popping in the microphone. Don't care. We're going to bend that bet over and hammer the shit out of it, and then fuck it while it's hot, and then cash out when you're done. We're going to finish all over you, Bet365. That was great. Oh my God, that sounded like the craziest shit I've ever fucking said. That's kind of fucked up. I mean, I have stories about some crazy shit that happened on Tinder or whatever. So let me know if you guys want to hear that. There's some old Tinder stories out there. Unbelievable. Anyways, Bubba Wallace. Let's get back. My mentally handicapped mind is it's all over the place. But Bubba Wallace at plus 100 over Kyle Busch. I mean, at the beginning of this race, it was not looking good. It was looking like a sweat fest. We tweeted it out. Over 1,000 people saw it. The Action Network, I immediately put it. I put 2 units originally, and I went, fuck, bitch. I am making this my bet of the weekend. I put 4 units on it. And God, it was a sweat fest at the beginning of the race. Bubba Wallace had a terrible car. But somebody tweeted at me. It was my boy Eugene on social media. You might have seen him. He really hates Sheldon Creed. I'm assuming he's lost money on Creed in the past, but he really hates on a lot of drivers. But he looks at it a different way, and the wrong way. He looks at, you really putting a lot of trust in Bubba. And I go, yes. Well, you're really betting heavy on Bubba, however you put it. And I went, yes. I said, you're looking at it in the wrong way. I said, you got to look at it. Do you trust the other side? Do you trust Kyle Busch? And the answer is no. That RCR, dude, even with Bubba running bad, it was not as bad as Kyle Busch, dude. He's back there battling with Cody Ware and Daniel Hemrick for fucking dead last. There was a video that Bob Pockrass interviewed Kyle Busch. I think it was either Sunday morning. They fixed his steering column or whatever, and then Bob asked, well, then how was the car after that? And he said, terrible. And I shared that and said, hammer even more on that plus 100 for Bubba Wallace, because when Kyle Busch is being honest and he's smirking about it, you fucking bet the other side. And the Toyotas are also dominant here. So you take that shit and you run to the fucking sports book and you cash out while you can. And it's good. And it was sweaty, but then all of a sudden I saw tweets of the conversation Booty Barker had with Bubba Wallace. And they said, we got to swing for the fences, man, because this car is bad. And he ends up getting a top 10. Amazing. So we also cashed the top 10 bet as well. They didn't look as good as they should have. Toyota's a little off strategy. Ryan Blaney wins. Congrats. But there's one thing I really want to talk about. You know, Ty Gibbs blowing an engine, that really fucking sucked. They got penalized, whatever. But when will Kyle Busch snap? When will Kyle Busch snap at this point? Corey LaJoie just turning the motherfucker. And then Corey LaJoie on his radio saying he right hooked himself. Huh? Hey, Corey, you're fucking stupid. Your podcast is trash. You're trash. You send dick pics to random ladies. Okay. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I'm gonna holster that. So let's back up here. Because I've heard some shit about it. I'm not going to out it on the podcast. I don't need this shit going viral. It would help out the podcast, wouldn't it? But hey, Kyle Busch. Because I feel bad for the guy. When will Kyle Busch snap? Corey LaJoie says, quote, he right hooked himself. Are you high? Are you high, Corey? Hey, Corey, there's a GIF. I tweeted it out. You're wrapping yourself in a checkered flag. How many have you seen? How many have you seen? None? Oh, you don't even make it to the end of the races usually. Oh, I can tell you you're usually the last person or one of the last people to see the checkered flag because you're fucking trash. And right hooking a guy, or I guess it was like hooked him on the left, whatever. However he did it. I don't know if it was right hooked. Anyways, you trash. And we're talking about Bubba Wallace getting penalties. Fuck. I got to start this over again. My brain is all mushed. Bubba Wallace gets a penalty for door slamming a guy. Carson Hocevar gets a penalty and points for turning Harrison Burton around. You're telling me that Kyle Busch throws a block on Corey LaJoie and Corey LaJoie immediately hooks him? That's not a fucking penalty. I know Corey LaJoie's all greased up with daddy's money. And he's all greased up with NASCAR, having his stupid little lane coin, or that's not Lane Coin podcast. That's my boy's podcast. That's Mark's podcast. Shouts out to Mark and Rory. My bad. And Zach. My bad. Stacking pennies. You have your stupid Stacking Pennies podcast that ain't nobody listening to. And I'm not saying my podcast is great. We don't have the numbers like Corey LaJoie does. But Corey LaJoie's podcast is trash. You wreck people all the time. And when will it stop? When will they penalize him? I mean, Carson Hocevar is being a douchebag to Todd Gilliland all the fucking time, driving him like an asshole. And we're all hating on him. I don't think... Does Corey LaJoie have fans? Does Corey LaJoie have fans? I'm just trying to figure this out because the shit you're doing to Kyle, the shit you're doing to a bunch of people, you fucking run into Bubba Wallace at Coda and Martin Truex and ruin their fucking day. You're just door slamming everybody. You get Rodney Childers. How much money do you have, you fucking bitch? This is ridiculous at this point. Fine him points. You took out a bunch of good cars. And where did he finish at the end of the day? I need to see this. Because if you finish outside the top 20, you're trash. 19th. Oh, congratulations. You're so good, Corey. You're so good. But let's hear the cars that he took out. Daniel Hemrick, Cody Ware, John Hunter Nemechek. Well, maybe not those ones. Okay, it was definitely John Hunter Nemechek. Wait, which drivers did he take? No, he took out Ryan Preece, Harrison Burton, Kyle Busch, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Those are the cars that he definitely took out that I remember seeing on the replay. So you took out how many cars? You fucking asshole. 1, 2, 3, 4. You took out at least a minimum of 4 cars. Not the best cars. There's a reason why they're back there, but you're just as bad as them. And I hope you lose your ride at the end of next year. You fucking piece of shit. Okay, that's been my piece on Corey Lajoie. Corey Lajoie is trash. Kyle Busch is always better than him. He's just driving in terrible equipment. Oh, wait, Kyle Busch has also won a championship. What have you won? Nothing. Your best finish is at Atlanta, where it's all based on fucking luck. Congratulations, Corey Lajoie. You're trash. I hope you get fined. And Rodney Childers says, we got to get rid of this guy. And then you lose your ride next year. Boom. Suck my dick. This is not a Kyle Busch defending podcast. It's not called Defending Kyle Busch podcast. It's called Hot Pass Podcast. Check it out. All right. So anyways, what else we got? Ty Gibbs blows an engine. Oh, it's really sad. I mean, Kyle Busch, they really got to figure out that car. Anyways. Bubba Wallace with the comeback of a century, though. I mean, top 10 is crazy. I was really harping on Booty Barker and that team. I mean, I don't know what's going on. Ross Chastain having that issue is really, I don't know what the playoff picture looks like, but that top 10 really helps out Bubba. So thank God Bubba got that top 10. Goddamn. What else is there to talk about? We broke pretty much even. We lost 0.3 of a unit. Thank God for Bubba Wallace for doing his job today. But that bet or whatever hit real nice when Kyle Busch got slammed. So, I mean, it's a nice thanks, Corey Lajoie, but also fuck you, Corey Lajoie. You're trash. I've never seen anybody walking around with Corey Lajoie merch and saying, like, hey, I'm a big fan. What? I've never seen anybody scream Corey Lajoie's name like, oh my God, Corey Lajoie, I'm such a big fan. Never heard of it. Never heard of it. There's probably more Harrison Burton fans out there. It's kind of a stretch. Harrison Burton's a nice guy. It's not a stab at him. It's just the performances, right? There's probably more Harrison Burton fans than Corey Lajoie fans. Let's be real. So anyways, that was the weekend. Had a good weekend. Relaxed a lot. It was nice at the gym. And, back to work Monday morning. And we're going to the Brickyard in Indianapolis. God, I would love to go to that race. I wonder how far that is for me. Let me look this up. I wonder if I can look this up. Let me see. Because if I can drive down there, I would love to go down there just for like a Friday, Saturday. 18. Don't want to give away my address here. Directions. Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Indianapolis Motor. Let's see here. 7 hours. Fuck. Why does it have to be so far, huh? Be probably pretty packed. I just can't stay for the Sunday. That's the only thing, because it's Sunday. I have work on Monday. But God, I would love to really go to that race. Go to IRP on the Friday. Is it Friday? Let me check the schedule. 7 hours just seems a little fucking far. I mean, if it was 5 or 6 hours, I would do it. But so let's see the Truck Series race. The T-Sport 200, Friday night at 8:30 p.m. God, that would be a great race. I love a good short track race. It would be interesting to see who performs there. I think it's probably going to be Corey Heim. I don't know how he performed last year. I know I like to give out some picks early on in the week, so when the betting lines open. But also want to say that we were up. So that'll be one to see if I do go down. I doubt it. It's probably like 10% possibility of me going. It's just 7 hours is a long drive, just to stay down for basically 24 hours. Anywho, for the weekend we were up plus 24.22 units. So shouts out to the Hot Pass Podcast betting show, Friday morning betting show. Listen to that, and we also have scheduled this time. And if he doesn't come on the podcast, he's going to hear it from me, okay? And he owes me. But Spider from Rubbin is Racing is locked in for this Thursday recording time. So Friday morning betting show is going to have your boy from the legendary Barstool Sports Podcast, Rubbin is Racing, on the podcast. And then hopefully in Michigan in about a month's time, we can make some content, get them to try out some Canadian chips and shit. And see if Spider can do more push-ups than me or whatever in the Michigan infield while we're a couple deep. All right, so that's going to be the Friday morning betting show. I'm really excited to give you guys a couple of picks. To be honest, I always say I'm going to bet light, and I don't end up betting light, and we end up going in. But IRP, Matt Crafton might show up. Stuart Friesen might show up. So those might be some long shots, but their trucks are just very inconsistent. But they've driven there a long, long time. And if you compare it on the short tracks, I mean, Matt Crafton showed up at Bristol. So it could be very interesting to see a Matt Crafton top 5. It's hard to say. I'd have to look. Because Ty Majeski, that fucking truck has just been so fucking bad. And this is also where I think he got caught bleeding tires last year and then fucked him ever since, basically. He has not been very good at all. I don't think he's got a win since that time. So maybe a bounce back. I fucking doubt it. It'll be interesting to see who's driving in any of these extra trucks, whether it's the 7, whether it's the 1. See who shows up for that, so we'll have to wait for that. But I don't really have anything for the Truck Series, and honestly, for the Cup Series, I got no clue. I think it is a weekend where Michigan and Pocono are similar to Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and I think you kind of have to look at the Fords now. Michigan races, Ford has won over, I think, the last 7 or 8 years or something along those lines, roughly. So I think you're going to have to kind of look at the Fords. Penske really showed up, so Joey Logano being the new track, technically a new track again, that we haven't gone there in the Gen 7 car, and him getting, was it a top 5? Yeah, top 5. I think you're going to have to look at Joey Logano. I think they're turning, I think Penske's back. So Joey Logano outright, I want to see the longest number I can get at that early on. A Kyle Larson. I think it's a weekend where you're going to have to start going with one of the two favorites, whether it's Denny Hamlin or Kyle Larson, and I would take a Kyle Larson. So those are the two plays for Cup and Xfinity. Fuck me, I have no idea. I'd have to go back and look at some info of when they used to be there, so I've got no early plays. So, okay, so that's been the podcast. So remember, this Friday morning betting show, Trucks and Xfinity are exclusive to the Hot Pass Podcast betting show. So make sure to listen to it Friday morning. Also follow me at @FurlongEric_ on all my social media platforms to be able to see any kind of early lines. Remember, Monday nights is when Cup Series bets open up on Caesars, and then vice versa every single day. Tuesday, Xfinity at 8 p.m., and then Trucks Wednesday at 8 p.m. on Caesars. So take a look on my social media to see what kind of early plays I give out or whatever I log on my Action Network. So to start that over, Hot Pass Podcast betting show available Friday mornings, 5 a.m. for you. Get those lines in. Follow me at @FurlongEric_ on all social media platforms, whether it's X, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. And then go to the Hot Pass Podcast on YouTube. Like, rate, share, subscribe to the podcast if you haven't done already. It really helps out the algorithm and gets us more views and be able to get sponsored for the podcast to help me, help you, help me, help you, Then go over to the audio podcast, hit the notification bell, leave us a rate. Don't forget to leave us a rate. It helps us out dearly. Okay? Looking right at you, motherfuckers. I'm talking to you right in your goddamn little earballs. So shouts out to you guys. I think that was it. And remember, Spider from Rubbin' is Racing on the Friday morning betting show this coming week. So I love you guys. If you guys tailed the bets, congratulations for winning a bunch of fucking money. And I love you guys, and thank you for always being very supportive of the podcast. We're almost about to hit 100 units on my Action Network in less than a year. Started, and I really want to make this a full-time gig. So shouts out to you guys. It's been a lot of work. From October 1st of being able to, even before that, I was posting bets and placing bets on NASCAR and other sports. So it should be a lot higher than that. But since October 1st of 2023, I've tried really hard to make this hopefully a lifetime or a real job. I've put a lot of effort into it. So if you guys can continue to support me and ride on this amazing train that we're riding on right now, I'm about to hit 100 units on my Action Network all time. And that's even without Xfinity and trucks. So please just continue to support me. And I really enjoy everybody, the new followers, the new listeners. And I hope to be able to make this a dream one day where it's a full-time gig, professional NASCAR gambler, doing my podcast. And you guys are really helping that out. So I love you guys. Enjoy the podcast. And we'll talk to you guys on Friday. And stay tuned. It's going to be a fucking fun one. All right. We'll talk to you guys later. Enjoy your week and stay cool wherever you guys are at. See you. Peace.